So once we, now we know that if shapes are similar, then we know that their corresponding angles are congruent and their side ratios are equal. So we want to now check whether or not shapes are congruent. So how do we determine if shapes are similar? First, we have to check are corresponding angles congruent, and are the ratios of the corresponding sides proportional. How do you identify corresponding sides? So if you need to identify corresponding sides, look for the sides that are the included sides of congruent angles. So what does that mean? Let's look at number 1. So for number 1, we have two shapes that look like kites, but who knows? Actually, they can't be because their opposite angles aren't the same. So we need to figure out, are they the same? So it's easy to match their corresponding angles as being congruent because they're marked as such. So I can say here that angle M is congruent to angle W. I know that angle J is congruent to angle T. I know that angle K is congruent to angle U, and I know that angle L is congruent to angle V. Now that I know that those angles are congruent, now I have to take the ratios of my sides. So let's look at the side here that's labeled 6. It's between M and J. So I want the one that's between W and T, so that's this one. So that ratio is 6 to 6. So that's MJ to WT. Then I'm going to find the JK to TU. So I'm going to say JK to TU. I'm going to find that ratio. It's 12 to 6. So this one is equal to 1. This is equal to 2. Right away, I know that these two sides are not proportional, right? These are proportional by a factor of 1. These are by a factor of 2. So since they're proportional, their ratios are not proportional, I know that these two shapes are not similar. But for the purpose of this activity, find all 4 sides. So we'll also find KL to UV, and that becomes 16 to 24, which is 2/3. And then we have ML. Oops. That should be 24 to 16, which ends up being 3/2. And then we'll have LM to VW, which is 24 to 14. So it's very clear that these are not proportional. So why don't you try the next 2 examples and see me if you have any questions.